Hi, this is Jonathan Rosenhead, Jerusalem psychotherapist. This week's Torah and Psychology post for Parasha Shoftim is going to discuss forensic science. In this week's parasha, we read about the ritual of the Egla Arufa, which is when a body which is found, a dead body is found, and the person has been murdered within the wilderness, but there's no indication of who has murdered this person. So the Zakanim of the Beis Din, the elders of the Beis Din, will measure to the nearest city, and then the elders of that city will bring this Egla Arufa and will declare that they are not guilty of this murder. And Rashi points out that there isn't actually a presumption that the Zakanim of the Beis Din actually committed murder. They're not murderers, but rather they are saying that this person did not come into our town and then we let him go without offering him food or without escorting him on his journey. So despite the fact that there is no guilt, the Zakanim, the city, are not suspects of a murder investigation, but rather they are saying that this tragedy has happened from a collective perspective. They are saying that we need to respond, we need to appreciate how a tragedy that has occurred within our midst, how that affects and impacts our life, and it's not to be ignored or to habituate to these tragedies. And today we have forensic science and forensic psychology, and in this field they will use scientific methods to try to investigate and to research a crime scene, to try to understand and to see if there is any evidence to indicate what has happened at this murder scene, and to understand how we can build a case against a person, try to understand who did this, who is the murderer. Or forensic psychologists will try to understand criminal behavior and criminal action to try to see if there's any suspicious behavior, or to build up interviews and questions in a way to try to determine the innocence or the guilt of a suspect. So through these methods, perhaps it's moving away from this message of the Egla Arufa of saying, we don't know who caused the murder and we're just going to leave it. These methods, these scientific methods are trying to reduce the number of cold cases. However, despite these advancements, the rates of cold cases, unresolved murders, is quite high still. And this perhaps resonates with the teaching that we have in the Mishnah in Sota, which says that the ritual of Egla Arufa ceased to be practiced because there are simply too many murders. And perhaps this is the reality that we are living in now, despite the advancements in scientific investigation. There are so many murders still, too many murders, unfortunately. And it's got to the point where, despite the fact there is no Egla Arufa, the Torah is teaching us a message that we need to understand that tragedies still occur, and they occur far too often. And certainly in the Jewish world there have been many tragedies and deaths in recent months and the year that's gone by. And this demands that we understand and appreciate how this impacts on us, to understand that these tragedies occur far too close to home. And this demands a response, and to say we are not guilty of this, but we understand that it is important for us to understand our role from a collective Jewish perspective. Have a great Shabbos, and keep well.